What's up, guys? It's your host Spartanic Arts DxD back with another high school DxD related video, and today we have What If Issei Was Overpowered Part 13. Let's try to hit at least 500 to 600 likes for this video. And if you guys want to know exactly when I upload, so that's my upload schedule, go ahead and click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button. Thank you so much for all the support on this channel. By the way, what if, I don't really know what to next this call What If. I'll probably make a poll about it. It's kind of like a betrayal story, but it's like a little bit more interesting than the typical one. And it's not like the basic plot line. And then, obviously, What If Goku Was Too Overpowered will be coming out soon, along with What If Issei Was Trapped in the Dimensional Gap Part 4, which, if you didn't know, Part 3 was Issei the God Killer is Born. And that episode was lit, as you guys know, and so will be the next one. So thank you so much for the support, obviously. And without further ado, let's go ahead and thank my balance breakers. Rob the King, Lachlan Yates, Atomic Warlord 58, Crumbling Darkness Fear, Mr. Wolf, Ant Lewis, The Beast YT3, Shade Fox, VRWolf hashtag 2347, Jordan Patchow, Mazaku, Dr_MLG_ is the bomb, Asamotas, Grimfireshot Gamer, Keep Saying 21 in That Round Guy. Thank you so much for becoming a balance breaker, which is the highest membership tier. You can also join Limit Breaker to find out 2 or 3 days or 1 day in advance of when I'm going to upload or what my next video is going to be. Thank you so much for becoming any Limit Breaker, Balance Breaker, Ultra Instinct. Thank you to all of you as well. And if you guys want to see Dragon Ball What Ifs, go ahead and subscribe to my Dragon Ball channel down in the description below. Another part of Goku, God of Destruction, will be out soon. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into Part 13. Chapter 38. Serzex was speaking with Grafia. Fia, I don't know how to make Issei notice my feelings for him. He just doesn't seem to understand the truth, Serzex says. Grafia sighed, knowing that this day was going to come. She had already planned on helping Serzex with her man problems. Her, Serzex, and Drake had all been working on making Issei notice the advances that Serzex was pulling off for him, but he didn't even notice because of his trauma. Zex, it's quite interesting seeing as though you're the one trying to confess. Usually it would be the man doing such a thing. However, knowing that the things that Issei had been through, he won't notice your advances. What you must do is actually confess directly to him. Issei is not the brightest in knowing things about girls. What if he rejects me? Serzex says. Grapia facepalm, knowing that low confidence that her king had when she wasn't sure about something. He won't. Come on, we've all been working together and helping Issei get over his trauma. What you must do is confess. Allow for Issei to think of cover, especially when Drake is most likely going to help him. So, this was the plan all along, Serzex says. Yep, it's called stealing the heart. Serzex simply hugged Grafia, being shocked at seeing Serzex actually hugging her and not insulting her or absolutely obliterating her in a training session. And Grafia began slowly smirking while returning the hug. Plan, stealing the heart, is now in session. Scene change. Drake, I'm bored, Issei says. Do something. Play some games or watch some animes, Drake said. Yeah, but I'll become too addicted to those things and we'll forget about other things, Issei said. How about drinking some juice or water? Do something even I'm getting bored, Drake said. Issei was sleeping on a massive bed due to Serzex saying that it would be too early for him to begin walking around to training due to the amount of blood that was lost. Phoenix tears can heal injuries, but not the loss of blood. Dreg, want to play some I Spy? No, I would destroy you. Uno, you'll obliterate me. Chest, I don't want to hear you cry. Monopoly? Rather not get destroyed. Ouija board? Do you want Grendel's spirit to come back? Alright, what do you want to do? Partner, let's do something productive. Want to finish your homework? Drake said. Issei, once hearing this question from his partner, was extremely surprised, dropped his hand on the bed, and mentally imaged Drake saying those words. What did you do to Drake? Drake was confused when hearing this. What do you mean? I am Drake. My partner would never, ever want to do some homework. You're right, but there is always a first time for everything, Drake said. Issei decided to take the advice that his partner was telling him. Walking to his desk, Issei began completing his homework. Maybe he wouldn't have to deal with the disgusting problems that the teacher was going over. Issei wasn't the brightest, which is why he was also taking algebra instead of calculus, like many others around his grade would take. Even then, he was still over his knees crying for every test that he would receive. However, it was about time to change that. From getting a below average on test, he was determined to follow the dream of his mother placed upon him, to become a completely different person in terms of book smart. Alright, here we go, Issei says. Right when he was going to lift his pencil onto his paper, he saw a communication circle appear beside him. Issei, I want you to meet me in the main living room, Sir Zex says. And the communication circle disappeared. Issei sighed in frustration. Right when he was going to be productive, something had to ruin that productive energy that he would receive. However, Drake noticed that the tone of Sir Zex spoke, and seeing how random the timing was for this communication, Drake decided to guess that it was finally time that Sir Zex would finally show the truth to Issei. Drake, do you know anything about why she wanted to speak to me at such a random time?
Issei, let's just say I don't know either,
Drake said. Issei decided to walk the entire way just to think of what was happening with Sir Zex for her to call for him during her meeting. During the night. Time skip. So you finally decided to arrive, Sir Zex said. Sir Zex was sitting on the main couch, with a huge smile on her face while Issei just toppled over onto the couch. Grapey was on top of the refrigerator, which was located in the kitchen, directly on the corner of the kitchen. Issei wasn't able to notice Grapey standing on top of the fridge because of the fact that she was concealing her energy. Issei, I want to tell you something meaningful, Sir Zex says. Okay, Issei replied. Issei, for the past time that we have known each other, you have shown many things that a man should have. Issei looked confused with the woman, why she was comparing him with other men, beginning to take the conversation a little more seriously. You've saved my sister, something that nearly no one could do due to the laws and crap that the Devil Council have placed onto the arranged marriages, Sir Zex says. Sir Zex slowly approached Issei, with a caring presence around her, something that she doesn't really show frequently due to her acting like a child most of the time. You've been with me, helped me, and even spent a bunch of time with me while I was being bored and depressed. Not only that, but you have also saved my sister a second time, saved all of the factions, and shown determination that most don't have, Sir Zex says. Finally stopping in front of Issei, looking upon the boy nearly standing a half a foot above the boy. Even when I feel as if I have done nothing to help you or compensate you for many things you have done for me, you always decline the reward, and you instead acting the way that you always are, Issei Hyodo. You're someone that even the current Lucifer looks up to. Blushing when saying those words, beginning to feel heated around the cheeks when closing the distance between the two. Issei was also slowly beginning to feel some embarrassment. Even if Issei was confused, that didn't stop the fact that they were basically a more matured version of Rias Grimmery in front of him, the same girl that is highly praised in his school. Sir Zex decided to hide her embarrassment and slowly began caressing Issei's face. She could easily tell the damage that Rainier had done to Issei was still lingering around inside of his heart. However, Sir Zex knew that there was a perfect moment. If she failed to do it now, then she wouldn't be able to build up the courage or have enough time to confess her true feelings for Issei, especially when she was being supported by so many people. Serafal stated that she would even help if the plan would go downhill. Ajuka was also supporting the plan, since hearing about the way that Issei would be able to somehow lighten Sir Zex's mood most of the time would be enough for him to support this decision. Also, the fact that Issei seemed like a chill fellow. Issei was beginning to get flashbacks with Rainier, and would do the same thing before they left the fountain in the middle of Ko. However, he was able to compose himself because that bitch was dead and won't ever come back. Issei, you're an amazing person, an amazing dragon. You're like a perfect boyfriend, Sir Zex says. Once hearing those words, that was when Issei began clicking the pieces together. At a very slow pace, she was trying to confess to him. Was she? Issei, I've had enough time waiting for you to realize the truth, but I have fallen for you, and it's been a while since I have. I can delay the truth any longer. Before I burst from pressure, I have it. Issei, do you want to be my boyfriend? The bomb was finally dropped. Boyfriend, such an innocent word that could be taken for such a wonderful thing for both men and women. Something that would bring joy for the parents of many children, but the different was for Issei. Being reminded of such a word was something that was horrid for him. For many, this wouldn't be a trauma, but the woman had precisely confessed him and had been the woman that he ruined his life and killed him once already. However, there was still common sense in Issei and told him that Sir Zex was the polar opposite of Rainier. Beginning to feel his heartbeat slowly rise, this circumstance that could even evoke emotions that Issei thought he had lost. The emotion was fear and sadness. Sir Zex quickly did something, wrapping Issei into a bear hug, giving him a comfort while he began the process.
Partner, listen to my advice. I want the best for you and always have. Just like the way you want the best for those who you trust, not being many, Drake says.
Issei began hearing his second best friend speak it to him.
Rainier, seeing through your memories, was a woman of pure evil intention. She was a whore, a woman that was nothing but scum. She doesn't deserve to even have a mention as being your previous girlfriend or ex-girlfriend. She doesn't deserve such praises. Comparing Serzex to Rainier is night and day difference. It's like comparing Great Red to a human. A night and day difference. Serzex Lucifer, a woman that has won most prestige in the supernatural world, one of the beings of the upper top 10 strongest beings in the supernatural world, is a woman that easily saved you during desperate times. Serzex Lucifer protected you from the world, helped you during a depressive state, and she brought on your revenge of that horrid woman. She is a woman that actually done things that normal girlfriends don't even do. She has been doing this for months.
Drake, I don't know. What if she's lying?
Why would she even need to lie? She is a woman that is literally risking her prestige in the underworld to be with you. She is doing something that nearly all the beings in the supernatural world would even do. She also has been showing signs of liking you, but she actually took your trauma into her own hands and has been trying to treat it through the background. Partner, don't listen to your trauma, listen to your heart. Open a heart up once more. Trust me, Serzex is a woman you will never find again.
Issei didn't know what to do. He did recall the moment before the open house that Serzex was there. She was the only person there that was supporting him while his mind was having a crisis. Serzex currently still hugging him. Issei decided the best thing to do was to give it another chance. Slowly, Issei began moving his hand to reciprocate the hug. The two were finally beginning to move a step up. Issei started saying. Serzex looked towards Grafia. She was telling her to continue hugging the boy. She motioned to Serzex to rub Issei's head, to give a better and more comfortable feel to Issei. She did just that. She was clueless, but the reason why Grafia was there. I accept, Issei says. Serzex finally began tearing up when hearing that. All her month of hard work of trying to help Issei was actually showing progress. She was actually beginning to show steps. In 1 week, Serzex will make sure that Issei would slowly push away what Rainier did to the back of his mind. She was already thinking of plans ahead. Grafia decided to leave the two alone. They stayed like that for a while, both showing a tear, knowing that they were taking huge steps into territory that they didn't know about. As they say, life is nothing but a game. You take a risky turn and either win or lose. And that is the end of Chapter 38. Chapter 39. Serzex and Issei were finally preparing for Issei for the class promotion test for Issei. When the news broke out that Serzex had a new pawn piece, being the current Red Dragon Emperor, the underworld was going crazy. They'd all begun partnering since they knew the tale and power of the Welch Dragon and the Red Dragon Emperor. If the Red Dragon Emperor was in the proj of the strongest devil, then that would mean that they don't have to worry about much of their safety of the underworld since they finally have another juggernaut. Alright. And that's how you solve a math problem, Serzex says. Wait, hold up. I only see sentences and diagrams. This is not math. This is science. Issei said. Serzex simply flicked Issei's head while guiding her hand over the paper. Science is basically math, but more simplistic, Serzex says. Are you lying? Issei replied. Serzex picked up Issei from the bed again and began walking towards the living room. They slept peacefully yesterday. It was a major day for them, and both of them woke up far more pleasantly and joyfully than before. How much time is there left until I take the promotional test? Issei says. Issei looked to see Serzex continuing her way within his arms. The woman looked down onto him and began thinking. She was estimating on how long it would take for a Juka to set up the exam for Issei. I would predict that it would be a week. The exam for half-bloods are usually far more difficult than full-bloods since they are usually far less trustworthy than us. Speaking more directly about the many strays that lurk around the realms. Issei sighed, knowing that the stray devils that were in the underworld were part of the problem for discrimination and hatred that most devils have are reincarnated devils. Once the people made their way into the living room, Grafia was sitting down with her breakfast on the table. Serzex, Lucifer, and Issei Hyodo, Grafia says. Grafia took the cup of coffee, and then she prepared for the day, beginning to sip it with attention. The room began increasing. I want to congratulate both of you on finally getting together. Issei, do you know how long Serzex has been waiting to finally confess confess to you? It's been weeks and the woman was way too damn shy to actually confess, Graphia says. Zerzex began shaking in embarrassment when hearing Graphia. The wrath of her queen was beginning to show when Graphia was holding out and embarrassing Zerzex. She was purposely waiting for this moment to finally begin telling Issei the many failure attempts that Zerzex had gone through. Damn, it was that long? Now I can understand why Zerzex confronted me yesterday, Issei said. Zerzex quickly dropped Issei, beginning to recompose herself. Graphia was finding the interaction amusing. Ow! Could you tell me that in detail? Issei says. Sure, you see, right when you were speaking with Rias Gremory for the first time, Zerzex sensed your presence and immediately rushed towards the area, knowing that Rias Gremory was going to want to spend time with her savior, and wanted to see what reward the savior would want, like money or equipment. Zerzex Lucifer covered Graphia's mouth while beginning to chuckle lightly. Issei was wanting to know the truth. He wanted to know what Zerzex has been holding behind his back. It was amusing seeing Zerzex genuinely being embarrassed. There was something about the strongest woman in the biblical faction being embarrassed by some random words. Issei was finding this far too amusing. What she meant was that I was there to help you out. Issei, I heard from the Sony you scored higher than average on your English exam. Nice job on that, Zerzex says, and she quickly changed the subject, the typical thing that Zerzex does when she doesn't know how to handle a situation. Also, I heard from your school that you'll be going on a month-long break. Azazel has requested from me that he would ask for you to be at his place to help you out with your evil dragon powers. He has some useful data that would be able to help you out, Zerzex says. Zerzex quickly threw Graphia right through the window. These two were really good friends. Issei was going to leave, but Zerzex grabbed hold of his hand. Turning around, Zerzex quickly pulled a magic communication circle paper, the teleportation paper that was used to communicate with Zerzex and summoning her right when Issei was initially killed. She handed it to Issei while looking worried. Sending a loved one in the territory of unfamiliar beings was something that Zerzex couldn't help but be worried about. I'm sorry for being worried, but I can't help but fear the worst. Knowing you, it will most likely happen, but take this paper and apply it magic to it, right when the situation gets worse, Zerzex says. Issei chuckled at how she insulted him, at the same time also worries for him. He simply hugged the woman to comfort her and lower her worriedness. It was still bugging him that Zerzex was an entire head taller than him. Zerzex was taking advantage to baby Issei at times. This woman was unpredictable. In an instant, Issei disappeared from Zerzex's house. Zerzex Lucifer, you better be putting those hands because I am coming for you, Graphia says. Graphia, you demon, I will show you the power of destruction. Both women were staring at each other, one with murderous intent, while the other was smugly smirking. The fight between the women was going to begin, until Zerzex took her armor off and began powering up. That was when Graphia decided to run for her life. Time skip. Azazel was sitting down, screaming at the fact that he lost in Mario Kart. He was still in first place until he saw the blue shell chasing him down, getting hit by the blue shell, resulting in him being placed into third place. But his luck didn't stop there. He was hit by 2 red shells, 2 green shells, a blue bullet pill, and random lightning strike, placing him in last place, and finally the race ended. Azazel sat down rethinking about his life, knowing that he was absolutely destroyed. Issei finally appeared in front of him in his own apartment. Boy, you finally decide to visit the old man, Azazel says. Azazel slowly stood back to his feet while looking down upon the child. Issei was a head shorter than Azazel, making him look like a rookie in front of the fallen leader. Yeah, you said you would help me with my power. I decided to take that offer, and here we are, Issei replied. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Let's see, was it about your evil dragon powers, Azazel says? Issei nodded while taking a seat on the couch beside him. Azazel began thinking about what he should do, either play Mario Kart or should he help Issei. Click! That was when Azazel came up with a big brain move. He would combine both ideas into one. Say, kid, have you ever played Mario Kart? Azazel said. Yeah, when I was a kid. Why? I got 2 controllers, Azazel said. Issei began smiling, knowing that he could finally relax and play some Mario Kart. Who doesn't like playing Mario Kart? Not competitively. Azazel walked towards his desk and pulled out another controller, pointing it towards Issei. Azazel began smiling, knowing that he was going to crush the boy. You and Drake versus the fallen leader, 1-on-1. Mario Kart right the fuck out. Winner gets bragging rights, Azazel said. So, you think you can defeat me in such a match? Issei replied. Azazel smirked with confidence while Issei showed his vicious smile. Azazel was asking for things that he wasn't prepared for. My partner and I aren't once for losing in such childish games, fallen leader. Be prepared for trouble, Drake says. Make it double, for I am about to destroy whatever pride you have in this game, Issei says. Bring it on, dragon boy. Funky Kong, here I come, Issei says. Dry Bones and I are about to wreck shit up, Azazel replied. That was how Azazel and Issei began playing a bunch of Mario Kart matches through all the cups and tracks. And that is the end of Chapter 39. Chapter 40. Azazel was making some strong assumptions that were most likely correct. The evil draconic power coming from his evil dragon side was purely different than his boosted gear power. It was forcefully affecting the boosted gear when Issei was in dire need of something that quickly boosted him into killing whatever was in front of him. However, that was when both the boosted gear and his evil dragon side were going berserk. What Azazel was specifically speaking was his ability of summoning such powers without any circumstances. What I fear is that if your evil dragon side becomes too dominant and begins to mutate the boosted gear into something completely different. However, Drake's own power would be able to counter that with relative ease. For now, Issei Hyodo, I believe in you as the rest of the faction leaders do, Azazel says. With that, Azazel began drinking some more coffee and downloading some Dark Souls. Want to play some Dark Souls? Azazel said. I would, but I'd rather keep my sanity for the time being. I'll see you later, old man. Hey, I'm not that old. Actually, shut it, kid, Azazel says. And Issei left the place before Azazel could throw the controller at him. Damn kids and their attitude. I'd rather watch the original Sonic movie than even babyist a child, Azazel says. Time skip. Arriving back home, he was met with Sir Zex immediately leaping on him. The woman was able to sense him since there was no restrictions on the woman due to them actually being a couple. Issei was going to be receiving a bunch of affection. What took so long, Sir Zex said. Sir Zex croaked while letting go of the boy. She had patiently wanting to spend some time with him, since she didn't really have much time to do it during the day. She didn't want to hang around Rias, not wanting to bother her little sister and trying to become a great heiress, and that she couldn't really hang out with the friends when she didn't have many. The only friends that she had were all busy, the friends being the faction leaders. Well, I may have gotten detached with some video games and the old Fallen, Issei said. When saying that, Sir Zex was beginning to slightly annoyed, knowing that Issei basically had wasted many hours of potential doing this with some stupid game. Actually, what are these video games that Issei was playing? She would need to ask someone for that. Well, what do you want to do? We have an entire evening and night. Want to watch something? Or Sir Zex says, Sir Zex, I wanted to tell you a thing that Azazel told me, Issei said. Sir Zex, completely forgetting the reason why Issei even went to Azazel, quickly nodded, wanting to know the truth of what Issei's evil dragon side could do. She herself wanted to know the truth and was questioning the transformation that Issei went through when using the evil malicious energy in the area. Beginning to tell whatever Azazel told him, Sir Zex quickly took her serious personality and began devising a plan for training for Issei. Starting tomorrow, you'll be restricted from even using the boosted gear. During your month break, you'll be coming with me to my parents' house and we'll be spending the specific time person that will help you with your training. Also, you'll be taking your promotional test as well. Make sure to not go berserk during the exam, Sir Zex says. Issei was a little weirded out by the thought of not using the boosted gear, but he decided that it was truly for the best, beginning to agree with each statement that Sir Zex was saying. Issei knew that Sir Zex was far more experienced than him than training him. If he was the one training without a plan beforehand, he would have just stuck with doing the normal conditioning. Now, it's time to snuggle onto the bed. To the bedroom, Sir Zex says. She quickly picked up Issei and ran straight into the room. Issei was screaming along the way. He hated rides, but the feeling of potential head crashes and that he could have was just bothering him. And, well, that's the end of Chapter 40. Chapter 41. The Red Dragon Emperor is out first priority to kill. Forget about trying to kill some of the faction leaders. Trying to kill a threat that is unpredictable instead of predictable is the way to go. If the Red Dragon Emperor were to get stronger, then we wouldn't know how much since he keeps on mutating his power, KOKO says. KOKO, the leader of the hero faction, was seen working with the Chaos Brigade and wanting to destroy the supernatural world. The power of which they held was massive. Having juggernauts like Rizavim and Crom was definitely a plus. Even having Indra, one of the heavenly gods, on their side is a massively beneficial when trying to face off against someone of the strongest beings in the Biblical Alliance. That may be true. However, Issei Hyodo won't be a problem until he becomes as strong as a super devil. That is still years away. What we must focus on is to defeat Sir Zex Lucifer and Ajuka Beelzebub. Those two are far more of a threat than Issei will ever become, Rizavim says. Yeah, right. Leave Issei Hyodo to me. I want to test his abilities of an evil dragon soon. I also want to meet Drag once more. I have grown to be the strongest evil dragon, if not the strongest dragon besides the dragon gods, Crom said. Everyone stayed in silence, in shock knowing that Crom doesn't take things lightly when saying things that he would take on someone. If that someone has shown great capabilities and gave Crom a reason to be interested in fighting them, that person would be receiving a brutal fight with an evil dragon, the largest battle maniac to have ever existed. Everyone continued to be in silence until Indra finally began speaking. I will try to get some new of my army members to try and ambush Serzex. Fighting alone with that woman would be suicidal for me. However, having some sort of boosted power on this sort of alliance with another group would help severely in killing biblical factions. We must destroy them before they ally themselves with Shiva, the god of destruction, Indra said. That sounds like a good idea. I'll have a Lucid be prepared for the attack we'll send. Having Loki begin his assault on the factions, Fenrir will be needed to be past the prime for this, Rizavim said. I already have given orders for him. He seemed to have declined my orders, simply showing his plan in the world was enough. He'll be preparing soon. Odin will be disappointed with him soon, Indra said. What if he fails? Rizavim replies. We'll get rid of him and keep Fenrir. He is one that can kill God with his own teeth. Loki had already shown enough disrespect around here. What do you think, Orpheus? Indra said. The small little girl with a small dress was seen sitting down on the largest seat. Everyone slowly shifted their attention to their supposed leader for what she wanted to say. Orpheus finally looked at everyone, glancing around to see their reactions, and finally began speaking with her monotone voice. If it will keep me getting rid of Baka Red, then I agree, Orpheus said. Everyone sighed in relief that their supposed leader was going to agree with their plan. Indra finally began taking a role of speaker seriously and beginning to increase his aura to gain the attention of everyone, besides Orpheus because she was in her own world. Then it's settled. KO, I want you to send Samio while I'll deal with the juggernauts of the biblical factions. Crom, I entrust that you'll be dealing with the Red Dragon Emperor, Indra says. Indra finally began getting up. Soon, we'll have the apocalyptic beast on our side, Indra says. Orpheus didn't seem to be paying attention to whatever they were speaking about. She was just patiently waiting for the time that she could take back her home. Baka Red, I'm coming for you, and I will get my silence back, Orpheus says. Time skip. All right, everyone, are you prepared for the final exam today? The teacher says. No, everyone said in collective. Good, because I honestly don't care if you studied or not. This all depends on your process of paying attention or not, the teacher says. Issei was prepared for his final exam. This test was going to be tough. However, Serzex helped him prepare for the test. Alright, if you pull out any device that could give information, you'll begin an automatic 0 and will likely probably not fail the class. Try and look around. You fail, as you can see. I'm not in a good mood, the teacher says. The teacher walked around, passing the test out. Okay, I know that I studied for this. Wait, I only just see scribbles. This is math class. Why are there scribbles? Okay, calm down, Issei. You studied for this. Remember, Issei says. Issei began closing his eyes, began remembering what he did last night. He firstly went into Serzex's room and began rolling around the bed. However, he finally opened his backpack after he was done rolling around and began pulling out his math work. That was when he quickly panicked and placed the paper back. No, past me. Please don't do this to me. Please don't do this to me, Issei says. Partner, don't forget that I also learned from Serzex what we were supposed to do. I forgot that Serzex was one of the smartest people you may know, Drake says. Drake quickly looked at the paper and, you're on your own, partner, Drake said. Issei finally smiled and opened his eyes, looking up. Okay, I tried my best. Time to cheat. The teacher was directly staring at him. No, it's not. The teacher is looking directly on me, Issei said. Issei sighed and began hoping for the best. Beginning to move at sonic speeds, Issei began solving 1,000 calculations in a second. Most of them wrong. Scene change. Graphia, my Issei senses are tingling. He's in trouble. Graphia, call for the same distress plan, Serzex says. Graphia sighed while face-palming. This was going to get ridiculous with the more Serzex began panicking. Ever since Issei had entered the Serzex's life, he had filled the void of Immertana that Serzex was missing due to the Devil's Civil War and that monster Rizavim. However, that also came in with some consequences. Now Serzex can't wait patiently for Issei, sometimes even appearing at school to pick him up earlier than expected. Now, since he was taking his finals, she she couldn't allow for Suzex to pick up nor bother him. Sorry, my queen. However, Issei needs to pass his finals, Rias said. What if I begin mentally speaking with him? What if I... Do you want Issei to be brain dead like you? I actually want him to grow up and become a person that his mother most likely would be proud of, Rias said. Damn you, Rias, spoiling my plans once more, Suzex says. You and I know that Issei won't fail the test. You taught him, right? Rias says. Suzex began sweating, knowing that she taught Issei the wrong thing. Sooner or later, Issei will most likely begin taking the promotional test in a few days, and it will be learning to basic mathematics that devils use algebra. Time skip. My amusement is immeasurable. My day is secured, Issei says. Issei had scored a 69 without the bonus points. With the bonus points, he had scored a 78. He scored one of the highest in the class, scoring even above the kendo woman. What? Issei? When the hell were you this smart? Kadase said. Everyone was shocked about Issei scoring one of his highest in his class. Usually Issei would be scoring one of the lowest, bringing down the class average, which would make some feel good about their score. But that was different. He was the one that Ford scored the highest and brought the class average up, meaning that most of the others were beginning to feel terrible about their scores. Since the highest score was an 80, you will be given a 20-point curve. Issei Hyodo, you have shown the most improvement. Congratulations on actually passing this class with one of the highest scores, the teacher said. Issei was feeling happy. He could finally tell his mother, wherever she was, and that he had scored one of the highest scores on the most hardest exams. Time skip. Suzex, I passed! Issei began jumping up and down with a smile on his face. You did it! Yes, Suzex says. Suzex decided to join on the fun. Now that she didn't have to deal with the nonsense that Grapia was going out through not on properly helping Issei, Suzex and Issei began jumping up and down in excitement. Suzex didn't need to teach Issei the basics, and Issei could finally have a well-deserved break. Good job, Issei. You actually did far better than I expected, Grapia says. Grapia was reading the report on his final grade. It was a solid B. For this, we'll be doing nothing but celebrating for the time being, Grapia says. However, right when Suzex and Issei were going to play some hide and seek or play some Monopoly, Suzex received a communication circle right next to her ear. I feel as if Rias Gremory telling her sister that she failed her test, Elsha said. Elsha was finally speaking. Yes, Issei, I was just wandering around the area, and I needed a break from the world, but I'm back now, ready for some action, Elsha said. Suzex finally scattered the communication circle. Rias barely passed her math exam. Time to celebrate even harder, Suzex says. Woo! Yeah, baby. That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Let's go! And that is the end of chapter 41. And that is going to be the end of this video, or where we stop for now. I don't know what to really call this next Issei betrayal story, so if you guys have any good ideas for a What If Issei Was Betrayed title, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll definitely end up using one of them most likely, or put like the top 5 best ones, or I'll pin the comment of like the one I really like the most and see if everybody else agrees with it. Because I do have a series, I actually do have another series, I do have a fan fiction of the next one, and then obviously my own story coming out, and another one of my own stories coming out soon. Once again, thank you to all my balance breakers. Welch Dragon. Sorry, I can't help myself. But, so I've also been kind of practicing, like, some voices and things like that, but I'm not exactly sure how good I am with that. But, yeah, we'll see when I do stories. But, yeah, so if you guys want to subscribe to my Dragon Ball channel, another What If will be posted on there soon, the God of Destruction Goku one, and it'll be linked down in the description below. Go ahead and become a limit breaker. It's only like $2.99. If you can't, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Don't pressure yourself. I wasn't pressuring you. Do it. But thank you so much for the support. 500 to 600 likes. And if you guys want to see more of this, just go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe button. And without further ado, 30K soon. It's Spartanic Arts DxD out.